Whether through fear of rejection, a lack of confidence, or the allure of a safe, digital environment, men are asking women out in person far less than ever before. A recent study has also found that half of U.S. adults are finding dating itself a lot harder now than they did 10 or 20 years back. For men, the issue stems from needing to be unique enough to stick out in the mind of a suitor, while simultaneously not being too clingy, needy, or standoffish, all whilst hitting it out the park immediately. As a result, the level of expectation and pressure is sky high. That's before even mentioning the insane level of competition when you include the world of dating apps. Women, meanwhile, are bombarded with potential suitors to the point of it feeling utterly hopeless. Unlike men, women have a constant flurry of potential men to date, but trying to find Mr. Perfect in a sea of mediocrity and, in the very extreme examples, potentially dangerous weirdos makes it a volatile minefield. There have been a lot of dating shows on Netflix, but Japanese series Offline Love attempts to break through these issues, all whilst adding an element of authenticity to everything. The show takes a trip down memory lane to the bygone days of just, well, meeting people offline and asking them out. With no smartphones and 10 days to find the one, who will find love? Will there be heartbreak? And who will end up with whom by the end of the 10 episodes? The premise is intriguing from the off, and thankfully we have a panel of hilarious commentators we cut across to at opportune times to fill us in on what's happening. However, the bulk of drama centers on 10 singletons who jet off to the gorgeous Nice. Set on the sun-soaked south coast of France, 5 men and 5 women prepare for an unforgettable trip. A lot of the contestants do have pretty successful careers already, or happen to be within the entertainment industry, which does kinda lean into the feel for parts of this being staged, or at least superficially choosing the best candidates in front of the camera. With this in mind, on the male side, we have Atsushi, Kensuke, Sho, Aru, and Yudai. For the women, we have Mimi, Toko, Nanami, Meiho, and Kanaka. To begin with, each contestant takes it in turns to enter a cafe in the middle of Nice, which serves as their base of operations. On day 1, they deposit their smartphone and electronics inside a locker and exchange it for a purple guidebook and some cash. From here, it's up to the singletons to try and bump into each other across the city, with specific hotspots used as clear reference points. They can't look each other up online, but they can write letters to each other and deposit them inside those aforementioned lockers to try and meet up. The first few episodes serve as that awkward meet and greet stage, and there's some nice moments here that lead into that aforementioned theme of authenticity. These guys can and do miss meeting at certain points, and there are even a couple of times where the singletons just walk past one another without even realizing. However, there is the question around the camera crews following these guys about, and of course those aforementioned hotspots also mean that the chances of meeting a potential suitor are increased. On this same note, there's one chance meet inside a church that feels a bit staged, especially as there are 3 different cameras set up inside there. The premise itself is quite cool, but it also has some issues too. Nice is a big area, and there are no rules around just hanging at the cafe all day. To be fair, we do see some of these guys just chilling inside next to the lockers eating lunch or dinner, and they just so happen to bump into each other, so there is that. Having said that, the show's initial premise is given a bit of a kick around day 3, where the singletons all meet for one big dinner and are given special wish dates to give to one another. From here, the show takes on a more conventional tone and feel seen in other dating series, with feelings heightened, big dates planned, and inevitable heartbreak ensuing. All of this eventually builds up to the finale, where the singletons put it all on the line to choose their potential suitor and hope for one final date before jetting back to Japan. The show is incredibly emotional at times, and there will be moments where you sit with a huge grin watching these guys falling for one another. Conversely, there are genuinely upsetting and heartbreaking moments when feelings aren't requited. While the show does have this raw, unfiltered feel, it's far from perfect. 10 days just doesn't feel like enough time to properly test whether these guys really love one another, while there are some questionable choices for the pick of contestants. At times, it does feel like some of these guys are just here for a nice holiday and to experience the food. Furthermore, one girl actually lives in Paris, so for her it's just a trip up the road and a chance to have a nice holiday rather than an unforgettable experience. It also means that the final speech about why Japan is such an online country and the importance of switching off probably won't apply to her. Also, and this is a personal gripe, while the sound is pretty good, the theme song, Us by Gracie Abrams feat. Taylor Swift, is used way too often. With all of this in mind though, Offline Love is a very solid dating show and an easy one to slip into. It feels very authentic, despite the initial issues with the cameras, and while the meets may be a little orchestrated at times, the feelings and conversations that spark up between couples are clearly genuine. By the time the final credits roll, you'll be itching for a second season. Wholesome, well-written and incredibly Moorish, Offline Love is one of the best shows this year.